Graham's double gunning, Dr. Pepper and coffee?
Oh, it's actually hibiscus LaCroix.
Oh.
And
a LaCroix that has seen commercials for Dr. Pepper.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, welcome to this chill Saturday morning stream where none of us have been caffeinated properly, but I guess we have hibiscus, LaCroix, and soup. This is the Seven
And painkillers.
And painkillers for Michael.
I was gonna ask if they gave you for that, actually. I didn't.
Like really strong ibuprofen and hydrocodone for when the ibuprofen doesn't work.
I love that.
Oh, that'll save you, man. That'll save you.
So this is the Seven Deadly Synths live commentary and Q&A. Actually, let me make sure that I have my Q&A box enabled. I had it enabled the other day. Here we go, stream Q&A. There's a box down there in the, or up somewhere. Right, look for it, it's blue. It is the stream Q&A box. And we're taking questions about Seven Deadly Synths. So we're going to watch the movie first together and do a little commentary about the movie itself and also making it, the process of, it's a little behind the scenes of making it. And afterwards, we'll take a peek into the Q&A box and see your questions. Of course, we have questions for Tiare Solis, who played Mag, Michael Smallwood, who played Roscoe, and Graham Edwards, who played your fave, Jared. Maximilian is traveling today, so he won't be joining us for this one, and Shannon won't be able to join us either, but I love these three lovely folks. And also, of course, Austin did the voice.
She just tolerates.
Who I just tolerate. Austin was the voice of Brian, so Austin is officially Brian as well as the composer and the sort of co-writer of the.
I'm the executive producer.
And the executive producer and the person who paid everybody's bills. So Austin was he was like, "Do you want me to be on the stream today?" And I'm like, "You had quite a lot to do with this film, so yes."
Including a very strange cash transaction.
Oh, gosh. So let me see. Let me make sure that my sound is all good. Is the sound all balanced for all of us? Because I did turn down my mic a little bit. I noticed it was peaking a lot during Dream Daddy last night. Although we were just very loud during Dream Daddy last night, and that might have been it. I was very loud. It was a very fun stream. You should definitely watch the VOD. And let me do our screen share thing of our movie. I did put on the English subtitles, although they might not be fully correct. There is one line in there that I think might not be correct.
And we'll talk about that.
Because actually there is kind of a reason for that.
Did you say pause if we want to?
Yes, actually,
interject?
yes. So I suppose Michael's the only one who's actually done one of these live commentaries with us before. If you have something to say, you can ask me to pause. That's okay. I'll pause if I want to say something. I'm going to share our computer sound so you guys can hear the movie. I'm going to keep it about here. Let's turn the volume. Oh, no. I'm going to turn my volume down a little just to make sure. And yeah, so crew and audience, let me know that the movie audio is okay. So here we go.
I can hear it.
Whoa, be careful with that thing, okay? It is worth more than you are, Jesus.
Charming.
What? At least I know I can sell this thing. You insist on walking around being called Brian. Come on.
That's my name.
Yeah, well, it's not a rock star name, boo. Alright? Like, how am I supposed to sell Brian? The straight edge asexual to this
Asexual
group of
flag on
degenerates. I mean, don't you have,
Brian's
like, I don't know, a tattoo or like a piercing or something? Something to make you seem a little less like a paper salesman?
This is the weirdest paper salesman ever, this helmet.
Okay, so I want to pause here and talk about that for a second. Because when I first pitched this idea to you of we're going to put a helmet on Brian, your first response was, I'm going to sound insane.
And I was right.
Yes, and I love that. I love that it just makes you sound mad.
It's like if it's just a regular dude, then all of this makes more sense. But the fact that he's wearing this outrageous helmet that he doesn't seem to take off at any point. He drove here in the helmet.
Out of his car
yeah.
in the helmet.
So like rewatching it with the helmet, I was like, oh man, none of these lines make any sense anymore. I sound like a crazy person who's like,
imagine the cyberpunk future where like he looks more normal, and since everybody at this club is just, freaks who are really into, electronica and weird music.
The time before.
Opting to not have helmets.
This takes place in a future where even Beyonce wears one of these helmets. Like, it's not that out of the norm anymore.
That everybody isn't wearing them.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I
Or
had
really
someone on
sad.
Reddit asking if the helmet was inspired by the game Ruiner,
No.
Oh.
I never heard of that.
and the answer that I gave was no. I said that it was going to be a dead mouse head, but we decided to make it a little more subtle.
Well, so for the VFX of this, I guess this is kind of some behind the scenes for this. I had to go through like 5 or 6 different helmet models I downloaded, and some of them were free and some of them weren't. But I had to just throw money at the problem until it solved itself. So it's like $3 helmet, $5 helmet. Oh, none of these work. But to get the shape right was really hard because a lot of these 3D models, like, they don't have backs to the helmets. So it was like face only, and that didn't work. And then some of them, like, weren't wide enough in the back to accommodate the full head. So it's like he'd have like the back of his head sticking out from behind the helmet. Yeah, or it just didn't fit the facial structure. So this one I was really happy with because I was able to follow the structure of the face while also being wide enough in the back. But there were a couple times where I actually did kind of like change the size of the helmet just to make it work. But hopefully that's not too obvious.
It's a really good, it's a really good helmet. Like, it's a cool helmet. I
love the helmet. I think it's so sick.
Yeah.
I when I was doing the VFX for it, I was kind of like, well, this doesn't look like 100%, real or whatever. But the more I watched this movie back, the more I'm like, oh, it's actually like not distracting to me. That it's like it works. Like, it kind of blends in, and you can kind of suspend your disbelief, I think, with the fact that just is what he's wearing, which is the goal.
So I thought, and I don't know, because I really wasn't sure what would happen with it. I honestly thought that was just his head. Like, this is the future, and that's Brian's head. I didn't realize it was a helmet that this person was wearing, and underneath that helmet was like an actual human face. I thought it was just his head.
I like that.
That's valid. And some people have asked, like, what is under Brian's helmet, and people have agreed it's more helmets.
Helmets all the way down.
Helmets all the way down.
I like the idea that a tattoo would stand out at all.
Right, yeah. Like, do you have a piercing? Where?
That anyone would notice a piercing or a tattoo anywhere.
That's so true. Even with the helmet, it's like not edgy enough.
What, like a neck piercing? Like, where would that piercing be at this point?
The helmet, in fact, changes its looks and face over and over again. Like, yeah, he's got to get a big neck tattoo that goes down into his chest, and he's got to be shirtless, and his nipples have to be pierced.
JJ says, get the helmet pierced.
Get the helmet pierced.
Right there to the nostrils in the front.
Why aren't there any spikes?
That's next.
Something so that you can stand out. Because my paper salesman wears this outfit.
Aw. Talent never got anybody anywhere. But A&R threw a small fortune at you so that you could do this dive bar tour, get to play in this rat-ass shithole, all right?
I'm pretty sure that was improv from your audition.
Yeah, this whole scene was my audition scene.
That was improv the day of.
So
That was improv on the set, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then, yeah,
I don't
that
know.
scene was my
Hope it's
audition
not any
scene.
violent goth shit like last week.
Hey, we're not some goth shit. We're chamber metal.
Michael Whaley, director of On the Road Again.
No acts listed.
Oh, so that's why we're here.
Those who've
It's
seen the
important to
deleted
make
scene
connections.
now
I mean,
know
the scene
that I
seems so
pulled that
small
footage
here.
from
If
it.
I can meet some cool people and get
So
in a
I actually want to
band,
comment on this a little bit. I don't know, like, we shot this 1.5 years ago, so I don't know if you guys kind of conceptualized this because it was a very long day and stuff, and we filmed a lot. But this is kind of a Frankenstein of a movie. Like, there's some stuff missing. There's scenes that are using footage from other scenes that were not that scene. And actually, even before, when I cut out that whole whipped cream sequence for the film festival cut, that I merged like 3 different scenes into one to make that transition work. and I actually ended up like VFXing the drinks already on the table at one point in one part of that scene because they hadn't got the drinks yet in that footage. And so, yeah, it was one of the most interesting editing challenges I've ever had because I really had to like pull a lot of different moments together. And one of the reasons I pulled that back-facing scene of y'all from the deleted scene was that I felt like just sitting on the front here, you didn't get a sense of the scale of the bar. Like, it didn't feel like it was populated. So I really needed to show that back-facing, like, into the bar, seeing you guys from behind and seeing that the bar has extras in it to make it feel like it was actually populated. So that's just
I like that shot too. In the back.
Well, and luckily, like, I was able to get your like almost lip sync and body movements to move with your dialogue in that scene. So thank you, Tiare. Unintentionally.
What? Okay, you got like 15 cents taking up our den. Surely that's enough to go solo.
I own
Right.
6 cents, not 15, and I still need at least 3 more if I want to go solo.
All the beep boops sound the same to me.
They're not the same. Some are monophonic, some are polyphonic, some are digital, some are analog, some have built-in reverb,
Tiare,
some
I
have
think that was
sine
your
waves.
choice
I
to
really want one with
lip-sync
audio
that.
modulation for that.
It was.
Yeah.
He's got a point though.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just gonna go talk to my own people.
Austin, I have a question.
Yeah.
If he's gonna go solo and just play synth music, is he really gonna play 6 to 15 synths on one stage at a time? Like, how does that work?
Sequencers. Like you tie them all into a MPC and have different MIDI signals going out to them, so you can get them all to go at their own time.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can.
Oh, okay.
16 is about the max though, because MIDI only carries 16 channels.
Oh. So you wouldn't. All right. So wait, we're just playing the computer?
No, it's its own thing. It's like a little box. It's like a drum machine.
Oh.
And then you go over to the ones while they're playing the notes, and you start moving the dials on them to make them change the notes.
Yeah, no, Michael, I'm with you. Isn't just playing a computer.
Synth music is more about controlling timbre than notes. So you get a note going, and then you start modulating everything else.
I feel like Ben Affleck in that, dead-eyed stare, "Hello, darkness, my old friend" interview right now.
Cool.
Hey there. Glad to see someone's performing here tonight. I'm Seth. I'm a synth musician, just like you.
Crap, I didn't recognize it from the back.
I didn't recognize it from the back.
Like, but it just says Brian up front.
Yeah, it's like he didn't recognize him until he saw Brian. No.
Well, hey, this is a cyberpunk future where everyone wears helmets. You gotta put your name on your helmet so people know who you are.
How does Brian control the helmet? Is it just
Magic.
like cool?
It
Moving his
doesn't
tongue
matter.
around.
They actually sell something pretty similar to this. They sell the Watchdogs face mask and goggles that have emojis on the goggles, and it's got a really subtle button that they push to cycle through them. But in this, he doesn't touch his helmet at all.
Well,
so...
he's got that big ass watch, so that's what it is.
Yeah,
It is the watch. Yeah.
The watch.
might be it might be gesture controlled.
I just assume it's a tongue keyboard.
Oh, that's a good one.
A tongue keyboard. Just spells out Brian with his tongue every time.
He's got a very good muscle control over his nose.
He's got one of those, what's those little washer things you hold in your mouth that you were talking about the other day? Mewing?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I thought it was about cat noises, but...
No.
Mewing. I like that.
My mom says there are thought-controlled heads-up displays for pilots. What?
I've looked into those. I think it's more of muscles in the
in the
forehead.
temple, yeah.
See, that's why I thought it was his head.
Yeah, it's just, that is his face. There is no face underneath. I want to see an absolutely haunting piece of fan art where somebody takes off the helmet and it's just his skull underneath.
Or like what they're doing with the beans from
oh yeah,
from Fall Guys.
just
something.
And now you will. Now you will see that. Someone's already working on that right now.
Horrifying.
It's a little person in there, a little homunculus.
Yeah.
Oh, like in Men in Black?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, which of you in the chat is already working on that fan art? And no, I know we'll see it.
Says is on that fan art.
Yeah, we'll see it in an hour.
I don't. And that in style. Oh my god.
It's cute and terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Cute and terrifying.
I know you're upset, and maybe I would be too. But they didn't offer us a deal. They offered
Love the
me a
sunglasses. Deal with it.
You always thought you were so great, all classically trained and shit.
So that's my line that I pointed out in my Q&A, because they're like, are there any jokes that we kind of like haven't noticed or that like you think are funny that like nobody's pointed out? That's one of them, because the idea of being classically trained in synthesizers is ridiculous.
I was gonna say the same thing. I was gonna bring that up. I was like, classically trained. Wait, he didn't go to Juilliard for this. What are we talking about?
Yep.
Classically trained synthesizer performer?
Carnegie Hall.
Carnegie Hall. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice.
With a guitar.
Good luck rocking this crowd with one synth in cargo shorts. I seem to remember them booing us off the stage last time we were here.
Oh, cargo shorts. Here, I'll hold your stuff. You just worry about me.
Were the subtitles right at that one?
No. They weren't.
Did you see a ghost?
Something like that. Like a really smug ghost with a really nice synthesizer.
Do you think his synthesizer is also haunted?
One of the many moments I absolutely love Graham in this. Whipped cream noises. Of all the things that I thought were going to become most iconic from this movie, this was not it.
I love this.
Somebody did like a 40-second version of that just keeps going.
Yeah, can we pause for a second?
Yeah.
I can't believe you had to cut that scene for the film festival cut. I
love it.
If this was my film, I would have such a hard time like deciding like, do I cut that scene or do I just cut every other scene? And just play
just
this
not even
over and over
bother.
again.
The movie is just this scene.
Yeah, just maybe like 5 times of this scene.
Yeah.
It just makes me crack up so hard every time I see it.
Yeah, I really enjoy it as well. The reason we cut it from the film festival scene is because it does sort of step away from the generalized log line of Brian and Seth's like rivalry in the Seven Deadly Synths. And it's more about the larger themes of the feature, which is like millennial angst and, gig culture and all this sort of stuff, which we definitely want to expand upon in the feature. And that's reflected in the characters of Jared and Mag. But for the short, it seemed like a little bit of a random scene. But yeah. I think as far as like our audience is concerned, like it's great. Film festival audiences and judges are just very, very, very like, make your movie as short as possible and do not add a single minute of anything that does not serve like the main plot. So that was kind of the motivation for that. But I knew like immediately, I was like, I'm gonna put this back in for the internet cut for sure.
The movie's like exactly 1 minute too long for a festival.
Right.
And that's about it, exactly a minute too long of a scene.
No, it makes sense. It's just a bummer.
It's the obvious minute to pull, but also just butcher the rest of the movie to keep this. I mean, you got take out.
I love that scene.
Yeah, it's so good.
Joseph's whipped cream noises, but they're sine waves. Somebody, Mace, get on that.
What the hell is a Godiga?
Oh, it's actually Godega. It's a grocery app. I
love the exclamation mark in the subtitles.
That
It
the exploitation
distinguishes.
of low-wage workers through a cell phone app is both dehumanizing and morally bankrupt.
It's not so bad, except today there was this one lady who I delivered groceries to, but I happened to be her rideshare driver the other day too.
Just walks away.
And well, now she thinks I'm stalking her. So that's fun.
Wait. Is
that jingly little
Ryan?
choker?
I remember that being a problem with sound.
No, you're having a problem with sound?
No, I remember that being a problem with sound.
Oh yeah, this whole section. So we had a fridge right behind y'all. It was like a one of those fridges where you like grab, stores drinks.
Yeah.
And it was so loud. And this was a bar that like we paid to be in, but they really didn't want us there. Like they were like, you get 12 hours and fine, we'll take your $300 and paid in cash up front. If
and he counted it in front of me.
He counted it in front of you. Like it was one of those things where we were really like on thin ice with this bar to begin with, and I was not about to ask if we could start unplugging things. So we kind of just dealt with the fact that you could hear this fridge. However, it's funny because when I first edited this for the film festival cut, it was a nightmare of sound. I was like, just I was editing it to death. It turned out even worse. And when I revisited it this time, I was like, it's not actually that bad. Like, if you just put a little bit of compressor on it, put some background noise, put some music, it works, and it's fine. And also, like, I did going through Detroit Evolution and putting 1,500 hours of post-work into Detroit Evolution really was a big learning experience in terms of how to deal with sound and other things. So I came out of that experience more equipped to take this on again, I think. Giggle Pants says, I like how Mag recognizes Brian from across the dark bar, but Seth has to see his face with his name on it. Well, Mag has the brain cells, they say.
This is a very special kind of face blindness. Like, I can only see faces if the names are written on the face. Otherwise, who knows?
Couldn't even recognize Michael without Michael written across his face.
To establish that he's in that direction, he's in the mirror. Isn't he? Brian?
Was supposed to be.
Oh, I'm sticking around and watch him play after what he did to you.
It's fine. It'll be about 8 seconds before one of these neon EDM assholes starts slinging silly bands out.
I got a water.
A fate worse than death.
I love the strawberry.
Strawberry Man has gotten fan art, which I love.
He ate them whole.
Okay, yes. All right. So that's true. Mike Amison ate about 7 strawberries whole for this. Because we did this take like 7 to get the framing and stuff right.
Green bits and all.
And he dead ass just ate that whole strawberry like 6 times.
And by the time it was getting to the end of it, we were like looking for ones that weren't
soggy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they were getting kind of gross.
I didn't know that this is what was happening. Like when you started filming this take, I was like off to the side.
Yeah.
And I happened to glance over on like maybe take 2 or 3. And noticed him just take the strawberry and eat it, and I fucking died. And after that, I was like, I'm so sorry. What is I don't even know what this scene is, but he's just eating this strawberry off the water, and it was the funniest thing that happened on set the whole day.
I also want to mention that this is inspired by something that we saw happen in real life. Without being too specific, we were in a lobby of a place that had one of those water urns for everybody, just like had community water, like a cistern of water, had like little fruit pieces in it because it's like, fruit water and complimentary fruit water. And this guy opened the top of it and started eating the pineapples out of the cistern of water. And I was just like, that's horrifying.
I mean, they're going to go to waste.
They were. It was like at the end of the water. There wasn't...
Yeah, no, he wasn't reaching into the water and like fishing it out. It was like on ice, but still.
It's still
that's a little better.
It's a little bit better, but it's still a yikes for me.
Yes, not much.
I'm still keeping yikes.
Fruit diffuser, yes. Actually, Graham, were you with us when that happened? Because I think that I think you and Shannon might have been with us when that happened.
Maybe that does sound like something you'd see at the film fest. I don't have a memory of that, but
it might have been a different year. It might have been.
It was pretty late at night. I mean,
that too.
The water was empty and no one was filling it up anymore. So
that's right, because you and Shannon, I think, were staying at like an Airbnb or something. So I think that you left at a semi-decent time every day. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would like to think that I'd see something like that, and I've just seen so much stuff, man, that like that doesn't even faze me. But yeah, I don't think I was there for that.
Shannon just dead face. Shannon broke immediately as soon as we yelled cut on every one of these takes. It's really cute.
I also like that it's like barely half of that cup of water.
Yes, so in the original filming, there was a comment about like, thanks for my shot of water. But I thought it was actually funnier if he was just silent.
My name's Brian.
Medusa Chaos.
You folks like music.
I think it's really funny that the synth, you actually did have to hit it to get the lights.
I love Maximilian.
Yeah, okay, so actually that was improvised because we did put all of those lights on the synthesizer, and there was like a short in the wire.
Yeah, the wires weren't insulated, so I think they were touching the metal thing on it.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was, but they kept turning off. But if you hit it, they came back on. And we got really lucky with that take, where on the third hit, they actually stayed on, because we didn't know if we would actually be able, because that was completely like, we had no control over that. That was just fingers crossed.
That's an amazing accident. That's an amazing accident.
I know. I remember I think that was the one thing I lost it on when we actually shot it. Like when we shot that, I lost it as soon as I yelled cut.
It's bad enough when something unexpected happens for the audience, but when it happens unexpected for the director.
Yeah, that means that I can find it funny because I didn't write it. I love this edit where Tiare's thud hits with the bass.
Tiare having none of it. So pissed.
One day I will make a movie where Tiare doesn't have to chug alcohol because
oh my god,
we're 2 for 2 now.
Yes. Oh my goodness. The apple juice. Oh.
There's a couple different movies where you're just like holding it up to your
just not stopping. Yeah.
Maybe a creative choice.
Oh, this is where we met JJ.
It is. Austin back there. So Medusa Chaos, our lovely drag queen there, performer in real life, is also named Austin. Everyone in this bar is named Austin.
Maximilian's face every time I watch this, it is the like horniest anger I've ever seen. It's just the horniest rage I've ever seen.
Yeah, he is really talented. That was great.
No, he has a magic synthesizer.
Have you been smoking my ditchweed?
I gotta point this out because so I am not a connoisseur of the marijuana in any way. And when I wrote this script, the original line was, "Have you been smoking my bad weed?" Because, I don't know. And Graham kindly comes to me and he's like, "That's not what you would call that."
Bad weed sounds cool. That sounds... When you're that much of a stoner, it's like, bad is good, you know?
So I think that you gave me the option. You could be like, "You've been smoking my mids," or "You've been smoking my ditchweed," and I was like, let's go with ditchweed.
Yeah, ditchweed sounds better.
Yes.
It's also.
Oh no! I hit restart. Yeah. I know where I was. I was here.
My ditchweed?
Look, I know you guys don't give a shit about synths, but I need you to listen to me. Ever since I was a kid, with my little stylophone, I've known about the legend of the 7 Deadly Synths. Who has one? There's no other way to explain what he just did.
7 Deadly Synths?
Listen, it started with gluttony. The gluttony synth took up an entire building out in BFE. Way too big to
All the
ever move,
translators
way too far
trying to
ever hook up
translate
and use.
BFE.
They say Scabbers stripped it so clean
Yes,
by now that you wouldn't even
everyone
know it,
was
even
like,
if you found
up
it.
the wolf's ass.
And then there was Wrath. The government found it back during World War II. Supposedly, it had the power to inspire entire nations to die for it. They locked it away in some warehouse.
Hang on
where
for a
no
second.
one could-
Yeah. This is where Smallwood lost it when he saw the movie for the first
Okay,
time.
yeah, when I first saw this the first time, I could not stop laughing at this entire exposition dump that is accompanied by archival fucking footage.
I was actually wondering if that was like true archival footage, or if you guys had just asked these people to come together and then make the cold. I really wasn't sure.
No, I think that might be Harry Truman.
It's just actual archival footage, but it makes me laugh so hard because one, what a weird movie to have archival footage in the middle of it, and two, he's telling a story of a legend at a bar about synthesizers. Okay, he's what, 24? He's in his 20s, right? So as a kid, he would have been a kid in the 90s. But synth music is like really only like from like the 80s?
Yeah, and even specific in the 80s.
You're
I
gonna
feel
get
like
Austin going on something.
So he's like, ever since I was a kid, I've known about the legend of the Seven Deadly Synths, but that legend is probably 10 or 15 years old in and of itself. But this archival footage that goes back to World War II is the craziest part of this whole movie, and I love it so much. Don't you change a word of this nonsense.
You know what I also love about this scene? The stylophone. Because, like, I remember me, Maximilian, and Graham, I think the three of us, we were all reading it, and we all, at the same time, must have been like, stylophone. We all thought it was xylophone for the first, like...
I think you handed Maximilian your stylophone on set.
On set, I just pulled up a video, and they were watching it for a while.
I found out my nephews now have something like a stylophone that my brother got them. I don't know if I ever told you guys
cousin a
that.
stylophone for Christmas last year. I wouldn't have been introduced to it otherwise.
World War II! Oh my god.
We were going to shoot this.
We actually were. A lot of this montage we were actually going to shoot, like custom. But we kind of ran out of time / money /
for the Genre Blast cutoff.
Right, because we were trying to make the Genre Blast deadline, and we filmed this on like May 9th, and the Genre Blast deadline was like June 15th. So the entire movie was shot and then, finished in like 6 weeks. So we just did not have time to like gather all these men in suits together and get a location and pay them all and pay for the location. We were already
like, this footage exists.
Yeah, so I just use stock footage and it works because
it works so well.
It works.
It works so well. Like for the feature, if you shoot these scenes, I'll be somewhat disappointed.
No, I must absolutely go back to. Well, we were going to. One thing that I do wish we could insert in the archival footage, we could either Photoshop it on the table or we could just get like a cut in. We were actually going to build the Wrath synth. We have all the supplies for it. We just never got around to actually assembling it. And it is a briefcase that opens up and it's like got the like big red nuclear launch like buttons on it, but also synth components, and it's great.
Look up the EMS Synthy A, and that's what it looks like.
Right.
Or you can do you could do the Forrest Gump thing and just use all this stock footage, but put the actors that you want in it.
Yeah. Or just put the synthesizer on Harry Truman's desk. It's great. It's fun.
I love that. All Forrest Gumpy.
World War II. Ugh.
Especially Nazis.
I hate those guys.
Then there's Sloth. But that one's probably languishing in some pawn shop somewhere because it's got no motivation to ever actually work. Lust is the one I get pissed about. Some assholes just destroyed it.
Like a sledgehammer out of a trombone.
What assholes?
The Anti-Synth Society of Honorable Orchestras and Legitimate
That was also fun for our translators.
As if it couldn't get uglier. Then we've got Greed. made up of straight gold. So, of course, it sold at auction to some anonymous rich douche
was at a
for
live
about
stream
$1.5 million.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Wow.
I just got everybody together to shoot something before we screened my
and
movie.
that brings us to the one Brian
Columbia.
has.
I remember you telling me about
It's a synth that everyone wants until they
Yeah,
have
the
it.
anonymous rich
It
dude
just
said
keeps
that's David
getting
Axe.
passed from person to person, bought or stolen over and over again, but no one's ever satisfied. I don't know how he got a hold of it, but I know how I felt when he played it. I got so damn jealous.
Also fun for our translators.
It did just play pretty good.
No, all of that shit was just presets, just generic recycled garbage.
Hey, Austin.
Yeah?
Can you explain any of that to me?
Vangelis.
Well, Vangelis, I have no idea what that means.
So, Vangelis is a composer, did Chariots of Fire, Blade Runner, and is very famous for using what the Sloth synth is actually based on, the CS80. And he's a complete lunatic, but he's very proficient at making his music, so Vangelis being a joke of jealous plus his name being Vangelis, it's a pun.
Yeah, okay.
I like that.
So Seth is complaining that what Brian did was just presets and no...
He didn't make his own patches, he just used what the synth came with. Which is... One, it's stupid. Seth isn't a good person, per se.
Or a good synth musician.
How would Seth know that?
What? Oh.
How would you be able to tell? Like,
certain people definitely can. Like, I don't want to throw any shade, but Deadmau5 can tell when a person's using a preset on famous albums. And there's a song called Firestarter, and he gets really, like, angry in an interview about it because they used the Korg preset that was called Fire or something, and he was like,
he literally just pulled it out of the synthesizer.
He's like, you named your title track after the preset that you used on the synthesizer, and you're going to say that you did work to make this?
Yeah, it's kind of the equivalent. I mean, it kind of is the equivalent of like a stock template for something. Like if you downloaded like a book cover template or something and like changed the title font and then like published that as your book cover, and it's like you didn't change anything, you didn't do any work.
But the thing is, like, presets are tools, and if you don't want to, if your job isn't to design sound, then you should be allowed to use presets. But like purists, I guess, like the people you get in arguments on forums will be like, you didn't make your own thing, so how can you sell it as your own thing? And then someone comes in and says, you didn't invent the drum, so how can you use a drum?
Oh my god.
Wow.
It's a very common argument in forums.
Can we change the dictionary definition of purist to be someone you get in an argument with on forums?
Yeah.
I think that's a more...
I'll call OED and have them...
Thank you.
I thought you said there were 7.
Counting.
Yeah. Pride. There's not much to say.
That was one of those moments that we had to cut a couple times because Tiare and Maximilian broke.
We do know, it can control all the other...
That was shot in my garage.
Seth, I know it sucks what Brian did to you, but there's no such thing as magic synthesizers. He was always really talented, and now he's doing well, but that doesn't mean you can't do the same. It's just, it's not your time yet.
Brian never appreciated synths the way that I do. And
Wait, can I talk about something real quick? There must be like this really great outtake somewhere where like me and Maximilian just met that day, and like you can see the two of us literally doing this with each other's hands, and it's hilarious. Like I remember like, dying laughing because like it was so awkwardly one hand above the other like 3 times.
I've never noticed that. Now I'm going back. I'm going back.
So weird.
I gotta go back and see this. Because how have I never noticed this? Oh my god.
It can control all the other deadly synths.
Seth,
You see
I know
his
it
hand move.
sucks
Yeah, he
what
moved to
Brian
do
did
it.
to you, but there's no such thing as magic synthesizers.
What is the other one about this one still?
He was always really talented, and now he's doing well. But that doesn't make him the same. It's just...
Now his hand's on top.
Brian never appreciated synths the way that I do. And now he's up there, and he's just treating it like some instrument he can use to get ahead.
It is an instrument.
You know, normally I would really appreciate you saying that.
She would.
It's a fun story.
I think normally I would really appreciate you saying that as one of the other underrated
So
jokes.
you hear that moment in the music where it gets a little funky? That was me introducing audio rate modulation.
Solid and close. Have no labels or branding. Even a custom shop would have branding.
Seth, go to sleep.
Also improv, I'm pretty sure. Because you found Chartreuse and you're like, oh, I'm using this.
But
I love Chartreuse.
I felt kind of sorry for Graham because he had to get like rolled over like 5 times because y'all kept like breaking during that shot, and so we had to keep doing it over and over.
Chartreuse was killing me.
I have some really great outtakes of Tiare just like shoving Chartreuse out and then being like, Seth. Just like losing it before dialogue. Oh.
And I was sleeping on the floor in this room while
Oh, yeah, because you had to work the next day and it was midnight.
You didn't believe me.
Yeah, I was already gone by all this stuff.
Yeah, we
Believe it
went
until I saw
home
it for
after.
myself. I know that if I could just have it, it would solve everything.
It would solve everything.
I'm gonna steal
Hunger,
the synthesizer.
famine, disease.
Hunger, famine, disease.
I'm gonna steal that synthesizer.
Now, nobody has maybe pointed out something about these end credits.
people don't watch the credits.
Well, everybody says that the credits are pretty, but there is actually something specific about the design of them.
They look like the Superman credits.
Well, they're actually designed after the Wonder Woman trailer credits. Yeah, I think that was the thing.
Oh!
So yeah, all of the colors represent the headcanon sexuality of that character. So like Shannon's Austin is the MB colors, Austin is Brian is the Ace colors, and then Michael is all of them because Michael is the token straight again. You keep winding up. Well, actually, that's not the case in On the Road Again. You don't have to be the token straight anymore in On the Road Again.
Nope.
I have something to say about the credits because it didn't end up getting done.
Oh, that's right. We were gonna, yeah.
I wanted to credit all of the synthesizers.
Oh, I
as
forgot.
people
I forgot.
because in early synthesizer albums, they were credited because people weren't sure how to handle the fact that they were using an instrument that already had sounds built into it.
Yes.
Instead of having a like drummer or a guitarist, they would have like featuring the Roland 808.
Yeah, we wanted to do opening credits with the synthesizers, and I totally forgot. The other thing we were going to do with the credits...
Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to go talk to my own people.
Add that at the end. The other thing we were going to do with the credits was we had this thought for a bit of... Let me... In screen share. Okay. Back to here. One thing we're going to do at the end was actually like make the end credits Seth's sketch of how he was gonna steal the synthesizer and walk it through like a stick figure cartoon, and then have Maximilian singing a theme song explaining how he was going to steal the synthesizer. But that was quite a lot of production stuff, and also we haven't written the feature yet, so we don't know how he's gonna do it. But that might be something that comes later on, maybe as a preview. But yeah, Talia Ware. Well, I thank everybody in the credits that is related to our cast. Like, I always thank Jillian, Michael's wife, in all of the movies that he is with, because I'm sure she helps support him in many ways. And Talia is Maximilian's rock. So I always put Talia in our end credits in all of our films. The credits should have appeared like a building whipped cream. Oh, that would also have been cute.
That would be great.
Please do this in the future. Yes, I think that we will definitely credit the synths in the future. As the feature will have opening credits, and the feature's opening credits would actually be him wiping everything off the table, laying out a schematic, and starting to decide his plan for how to steal the MV synthesizer. But yeah, so that was Seven Deadly Synths with cast commentary. Now I'm gonna go to our stream Q&A box and see if anybody has submitted some stuff. I got a Detroit Awakening question. Oh, I can refresh this actually. I might have some now. Yeah, so there's a stream Q&A box down there, which you can submit questions for the cast and crew about Seven Deadly Synths. And thank you, Will, for giving out 3 gift subs. Pillow Bro for the bits, a few bits. Bakasara for the gift sub. Sophos for subscribing. And Jan for the gift sub. And Deviant Badger for subscribing. And Jan for the other gift sub. And wow, all these gift subs today. Woohoo! All right. And you can also throw some stuff in the chat as well if you can't get to the stream Q&A box.
I'll go into a little bit more detail of why people are anti-preset.
Oh my god.
The argument is, why buy a synth if you're going to use a preset? Because you could just take a small clip of that sound and play it on a computer. Why would you spend
at that point
a few $100s on a synthesizer just to use a sound that you could have recorded?
At that point, it is not an instrument, really.
So that's the argument, is that if you're using a preset, which is essentially the same as using a recording, then you're not using the instrument.
Right, yeah, and that makes sense. And I think that it is kind of like, as a filmmaker, I do use a lot of stock assets. I do use a lot of stock footage. I mean, I'm shameless about that. It really does help. But I think that it's like there kind of is no equivalent, because it's really like, even if you made an entire movie out of stock footage, that in theory could still be like transformative work. Whereas if you're just using presets, you're literally just copying
what talk to Michael and Sophia about that.
already made out of the synth. Like, you're not doing anything transformative. You're just like copying what's already been made by somebody else. Is it difficult for you to find places to agree to let you film in Charleston since it's so touristy? Okay, let's talk about that, because yes. It was this is more of a Detroit Evolution question, I suppose. But yes, it was very, very hard. I think Charleston has the unfortunate combination of being both extremely expensive and haughty about all of its locations, while also being extremely hostile to filmmakers at the same time, because I found that throwing money and insurance at them didn't really help. Because I was like, I have a location budget, I have liability insurance, I'm legit, guys. Like, I'm not some indie filmmaker who's coming in uninsured with like a bunch of kids and doesn't know what they're doing and doesn't have any money to pay you. Like, I mean, I paid $1,100, $1,500 for some of our locations in Detroit Evolution. And yeah, like I wrote so many emails during that process. The location hunt was probably the hardest singular part of Detroit Evolution. Like, bar none in pre-production. It took me like 2.5 months to find all of our locations. I went on countless scouts because I just could not find places that would answer my emails, and the places that did answer my emails were usually a little bit out of my budget, or they had some sort of like, you can only be here for 8 hours or something. So yeah, it was really, really rough. And I also wonder if it's one of those things where like they're very accommodating to weddings, weirdly, which is, you know, 100-person event, which in theory is like way more of a footprint. But yeah, filmmakers in particular, they just are very suspicious of. And I wonder if there's been some stuff that's been filmed in Charleston that has kind of burned the city for filmmakers. And I have a suspicion about what some of those productions were. But
I think it's also just I don't know what the long-term repercussions of having my stuff in a film is going to be versus...
Yeah, it's a combination of just like ignorance and fear, and also like yeah, it's the worst combination of things for a town. And my mom says you needed a bar all day to shoot synths in, so we had to shoot on a Tuesday. That is something about Seven Deadly Synths.
Oh, yeah.
To have the bar all day, it had to be closed all day, and it also had to be a bar that all the windows were completely blocked out, so you could not see that it was daytime. Like, we shot synths from like noon to like 8 p.m. in that bar, so it was day the entirety of that film. But luckily, because there's no windows, you can't tell.
I actually walked in late. Like, I walked in later, and everyone had already been filming and started. And I think I walked in during a take.
You did.
And the last,
I had no way of knowing whether or not a take was going because I was outside. And
the last scene where he's pulling the synth out of the car was shot at. That was shot at the end. It wasn't shot at the beginning, and it was supposed to include we had. Jay, I think, was going to help with moving stuff.
So that was so the Roscoe and Brian scene at the beginning in the parking lot was in a completely different part of the script. It was originally the third scene in the script, and it was somewhere between there was that deleted scene, and then there was that scene, and then there was the scene at the bar with Mag and Jared and Seth, which we open on. So yeah, it was in a different place. It was inside the bar, but what ended up happening was we ran out of time in the bar. We were done at 9 p.m. They kicked us out. So at 9 p.m. we're like, well, we still haven't filmed that scene, so I guess we'll film it in the parking lot. And we ended up doing that and then switched it to be the opening scene of the film, which works seamlessly. It worked fine. But that's definitely one of those moments of filmmaker plan B ingenuity of trying to rearrange your script to make it work when things go wrong and you get 2 hours behind schedule. But yeah, I do think it's very difficult to find locations. The only reason I was able to get that location was because I got discovered, I guess, but by a local record label owner named Colors Ramadan, and he's very into that bar. He hosts a lot of events there, and he asked me to help host an event there back a month before. And so I went to the bar and I was like, wow, this could be a really good bar for Seven Deadly Synths, because I knew in my mind I wanted to make it during the summer. And so I talked to him, and he introduced me to the owner of the bar, Jungle, and we ended up working it out. And I was very nervous because I was like, yes, Tuesday is the only day off that the bar has, and he pretty much runs this bar by himself and his wife. They have a couple employees, but they're the type of people who they work 70 hours a week at this bar, and Tuesday's their only day off. And so I didn't know if he would say yes, because this is his one day, but he mostly stayed in his office and I think slept. So I think he's still got somewhat of a day off, thankfully. And we did pay him for it. We didn't be there for free. So yeah, but that was very fortunate that I kind of stumbled into a connection with that bar, because most bars around here are not closed for a full day, any of them. So
since then, I think we found at least one bar that we could shoot stuff in.
Well, Burns Alley, where we shot Detroit Evolution, very, very friendly and accommodating to filmmakers. However,
we would have had to stretch that over a couple days.
Yeah, so you would have to do that overnight over 2 days, because they close at, I think, 2 a.m., and then they open again at 4 p.m. the following day, but you only have night till 7 a.m. So you could have 5 solid hours overnight in the bar without other patrons, and then if you couldn't do it in that 5 hours, you would have to come back a second day. And but that bar was free. They let us shoot at Burns for free, so that was really cool. And we did name drop them in the film. Let's see what else we got. I lost my stream Q&A box. There we go. Oh, here we go. Wow. Is there anything you'd like to change or elaborate on when you incorporate this into a larger synths film? Oh, yes, very much so. I think all of it. Specifically Jared and Mac, I think, and Roscoe as well, because Roscoe actually has quite a presence in the film. Just the side characters that are not Seth and Brian, because we kind of had to focus on like their singular rivalry as the emotional core, like for the short. But there is a lot more going on commentary wise and character arc wise in the feature that I do want to explore. The fact that, you know, Mag has like a lot of student loans and is dealing with like that kind of millennial experience. The fact that Jared is dealing with the I'm working for cell phone apps and they're exploiting me kind of millennial experience. And then Roscoe as like this kind of antagonist, but also like a tertiary antagonist where he's not like the big bad, like he's working for somebody who's worse. So, and kind of that dynamic. And also like there is something about Roscoe that I'm not even sure we've told Michael yet.
Yeah, I think we kept that.
I think we've kept it a secret from Michael because we
didn't want it to influence the acting.
Right. It's nonsense, Michael.
It's like it's something that wouldn't even come up until the stinger. So
yeah, no, it literally is something would be revealed about Roscoe in the after credits scene.
He's a Cylon.
No.
but yeah, there's a kind of idea that Jared is the driver. They're a crew, basically.
Yeah.
But not intentionally a crew. They just fulfill the roles of a heist crew.
Yes.
You could pretty well compare this to like Indiana Jones or
Ocean's 11, yeah.
National Treasure. Like the plot is somewhere between those sort of things. It's just ludicrous because it doesn't have the depth of like religious artifacts or national historical relevancy.
Is there an entire World War II flashback planned for the feature? Because I would love to see how it was, how Harry, like, I would love to see Truman's interactions with it. I'd love to see how it brought down.
Who would we cast as Harry Truman?
Great question. I don't know.
Oh, my good kitty.
Yeah,
I would love to hear about, like, in the feature film, how the synths have affected history, like what historic events, you know, did they secretly prompt?
Yeah,
like,
you want the Forrest Gump version.
We could, like, I want to know how Forrest Gump again, right? Like, that kind of stuff.
I think also we want to elaborate on the assholes.
Yeah, they have a big presence in the feature,
as they are like a tertiary antagonist, because you know you have all these moving pieces. Originally I was like, I want to do It's a Mad World with synthesizers, where it's a full-on ensemble piece where everybody is going after the synthesizer at the same time, but that ended up being kind of complicated when you had multiple synthesizers. If we had just had like one magic synth, we could have done that, but because we wanted to do 7 deadly synths, we ended up having to, you could have multiple synthesizers and a few characters, you could have multiple characters and one synthesizer, but you really can't have both because it was just too crazy. So we ended up kind of compromising on that and having Seth and Jared and Mag kind of being the main three going after, you know, this stuff. But you do have multiple different forces getting in their way. Of course, there's Brian, there's Roscoe, there's whoever Roscoe works for. There is the asshole organization that they're just trying to destroy the synthesizers, so they want to get the synths to destroy them. So there's a lot of like exit pursued by lions in the script, where it's like, oh, we're in a club, we're gonna steal the synth, but then these guys show up and then these guys show up too, and it's just a fight. So yeah, you want to kind of have like multiple layers of conflict that can kind of run into the story and stop the characters.
I picture that scene from Star Wars, one of the more recent Star Wars, where they're all in the bar and they hear about something and they all start looking at each other. Because they all want to go after they overhear his story.
Yes.
And they look at each other, and all of these different like little subgroups are like, these are the people who you're going to have to deal with because Seth was a loudmouth and everybody heard.
Right. That was originally, like, there was actually a character from Michael Daly that we were going to write who is this very, very serious, flamboyant, and also extremely clumsy goth man. Like, he's extremely serious and he's extremely dark and brooding, but he also knocks over everything that he walks by. And that was just going to be his
great
character.
role to give to Michael Daly.
I was so excited to write that character for him, and we were gonna write him in the short, but again, it was
I think that's right when he moved to LA.
It was right when he moved to LA, so that became complicated. And also just it was one of those things of like, okay, we got so much going on already in this short. Like, I don't know where to put in these ensemble characters. So we had like Redbeard, who has a line. We have Strawberry Man. Like, we have these little moments of background characterization, and even like with the bartender with Austin. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy to make the world feel bigger than it was, but it still wasn't nearly as like ensemble-y as we had originally thought, just for budget and time and, you know, complexity.
Also, I don't know if this has ever been addressed, but unlike a lot of my ideas, this movie didn't start with the pun.
No, it didn't. The pun came about a month or two in, as I was like, I want to make a magic synthesizer heist movie, and we were originally going to do like the everybody's going after a magic synth concept, and we were workshopping that for a while, and we were just we were struggling with like the plot of it and kind of where it would go, and then you came up with the pun Seven Deadly Synths, and I was like, well, we've got to rewrite the plot to fit that now, don't we? Because I was like, we got to use that. So, yeah, that's where that
came from. I did not know that.
It's my second or third movie at this point that is a pun title. It depends on whether you want to consider Devil's Advocate a pun. Poldisker asked, did Brian lift Seth at the stage, or did he just move him from it? It looks like he lifted Seth. No, he just moved him and like shoved him off the stage. Yeah, he didn't pick him up and put him down.
Maximilian's just taller than
Yeah, Maximilian's taller than everybody. So it was kind of funny actually, because like even with the stage dip, like it's the only thing that I can actually make anybody taller than Maximilian. Do you have a favorite line in the film, either to deliver or hear? I actually want to spin this around the room. Graham?
Water for Brain always gets me a lot. It's not mine, but I love it.
Yeah, I like that one as well, and especially Shannon's delivery of it, just completely deadpan. There is a deleted scene that you guys haven't seen yet of Brian actually ordering the water. We shot that. I haven't shown it to anybody because it would require me to do the helmet effects for the deleted scene, and I just haven't. I also never actually edited that scene, so it would just take a little bit of work to put it together. But yeah, it's like he goes up to Austin and was like, can I get a water? And Austin keeps trying to sell him on like things other than water, and he shoots down every single one of them because he's so straight edge. He does not drink anything other than water. And then and Shannon picks up the cup and writes his name and is like, I'll call you when it's ready. and it's just
it's water.
It's water.
That was actually really funny because half of the takes Shannon had to hide the name.
Oh God, yeah, that was great too. That will be in the gag reel of Shannon putting it down like behind like a shaker, and I yelled cut, and I was like, oh, like you didn't put that in frame, and Shannon was like, because I accidentally wrote Brian instead of Brain. But that's a professional right there, trying to hide a mistake to save a take. Do you all have a... Actually, I guess we could go around still with favorite lines.
Either to deliver or to hear, or...
Tiare, do you have one?
I was literally just thinking of it. For me, I felt like Mag was such a momish, serious character. Not serious, but she was very momish. So, my favorite lines tend to be everyone else's. Not that I don't love my lines. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I'm big on the funny. And I was really big on Vangelis. And when I was a little kid with my stylophone. Also, Michael, I loved your paper salesman line and the fact that you call him Boo. They killed me. I was tickled. And then it wasn't so much like it wasn't a delivery thing, but I just remember like Graham, there were a couple takes where you were just like
and restarted the counting. I have a long ass take where he got to 5 and started over. And Tiare, your face moves just a little bit in that take, because it's just like you and Maximilian just look back and forth at each other like, how long is he gonna go with this?
This is why Jared doesn't realize that he's getting taken advantage of with the gig economy.
Right, exactly.
That skills, you know. Yeah.
Well, also in the deleted scene, there is you say. A woman tipped me $4 today, and that plus my gig rate is almost 7.
I think my favorite lines. I mean, everything that Graham and Shannon did, every take had me dying on set, and I loved the counting. I loved. But now she thinks I'm stalking her. So that's fun.
Oh my god. You know what else killed me?
Great line.
It was Sorry.
No. I mean, obviously water for brain, and which isn't in there. The response isn't in there anymore, but my name's Brian. And then he looks at the water and thanks for the shot of water. It's like perfect. Like all that stuff killed me every time.
I loved when Maximilian is all Nazis and Graham's all hate those guys.
Yeah, I was really thankful to be able to deliver that line.
I always try to get a little bit of Indiana Jones into a movie.
Every single time. Yep. I think my favorite line when I wrote it, the line in the script that always cracked me up when I wrote it was, do you think his synthesizer is also haunted? Like that one, for whatever reason, like in the script got me. Like I just loved that line. And Jared's delivery of it was just wonderful.
I think my favorite delivery, which like I didn't even think about it until watching it edited this time, was the fact that Jared's response to this just like spewing of how terrible and unethical things are is, it's not so bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Because reading it on the script, it's like, whatever, but the delivery of that is just like,
that beat, and then it's not so bad. Yes, very, very well done. And that was definitely something that I really tried to preserve in the edit, because that just the complete just paragraph of Communist Manifesto that Shannon delivers to his face, and just like, it's not so bad.
I didn't realize how good of a character, an actor Shannon was for that line until after the fact. Like,
yeah, because you know, I know that that Shannon does a lot of editing and does a lot of like behind the scenes work and stuff, and has been an actor in a few things. But I mainly know Shannon from something that Graham has been in called What We're Reading Today, and that was the reason that
basically why
Graham was cast, because that is one of my favorite short films of all time. I think it's
straight up my favorite.
I hate that Devin has not put it online yet for everybody to see, because I will share it immediately.
It's so good. It's so.
I will buy it from him for this.
I will literally. I will pay $5 on Amazon Prime to own it, because
what do we got? It's so good, y'all. It's so. I have a postcard from it on my refrigerator right now.
Oh yeah, I guess I have.
Yeah, I have that postcard on my refrigerator upstairs.
I just realized that, but yeah, I'm really fortunate to be able to be in that film.
God, you were so good in it. It's so funny.
Like, I would buy rights to it if that's what was holding it up.
So for those who don't know, What We're Reading Today is a fake public access television show from the 90s where Graham is the host and talking about how great reading is, and summons a demon like halfway through because the show's about to get canceled, and so he like invokes a demon to save the show.
Y'all, I saw it at Atomicon.
Yes,
it killed me. I like had to meet and speak to Graham and Shannon immediately, and then was just totally psyched out about it. And then when we were doing this, and Michelle was like, "Yeah, Graham and Shannon are gonna be in this thing." I was like, "Oh!" I was like starstruck to work with them.
Yeah, me and Austin regularly will just say for no reason, "Have you heard of books?"
It's right up there with Tim Tromner's stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There's just some things that it's like, I can't make this. This isn't my style. But, God.
It's so good.
I desperately want to do. I've been thinking about doing screenings of shorts from people that I've worked with or that I've met at film festivals before for the stream or something like that. And God, I gotta find some way to stream what we're reading today at some point.
Yeah.
Like I've got to share
that
guys.
with the world, and I don't care how it goes. But
it's so good.
It's so good.
Let me check the Q&A box. So everybody, I guess starting with, let's start with Tiare for this, because I think, I remember when I met Tiare at a coffee shop after I cast her for the first time, and we met for the first time. We talked a little bit about this. Do you have a backstory that you created for your character to help you play them? Or is there backstory about your character that you know that we talked about that helped you play them?
Oh my gosh, I can't remember. I probably did write a backstory. I actually don't write backstories anymore. Because my life is now the backstory of my characters. But at the time, I was really big on writing backstories. And I think I wrote her this nice little 2-page one, and I can't remember what it is now. Like, I think I wrote something like she comes from like a kind of like a not particularly fortunate family, and she's like a single mom, so she really wants to make her parents proud. She's really smart, something like that. And that was like her drive for doing all the things she did, but she also just like didn't like want to live this conventional life. I think I made her Catholic. I don't know. I can't remember now.
I think we talked a little bit about what she majored in and like what her career path was, and I want to say it was something to do with medicine. That it was something like she had originally like planned to go to med school or something, but then dropped out.
She's definitely like a broke college student, because there's lines about that.
Well, she's post college, yeah.
I think she's in grad school.
School, yeah. I think she's a grad student. That's right. She was a grad student. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to go back and look at those notes because it's been so long now, and I wrote since so quickly. I was kind of like a little sketchy on character at the time. But yeah, I think she's a grad student. All the characters are supposed to be like late 20s. And actually, I think, God, by the time we'll probably get to make the feature, Maximilian will probably be 30. And there was originally one joke I thought of for this universe is like Seth going up to the bar and ordering a drink, and the bartender being like, "I want to see your ID," and him replying, "I'm 30." Just deadpan. What about you, Michael?
I don't remember working on like a backstory for this character. It was pretty clear on the page, really, even from the audition. I remember like reading through it and doing the audition. I actually filmed it with Whaley, and it was very simple. Like
It was fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun, and it was one of those things of like, sometimes you get the script and the writer has put everything there, so really your job is just to have fun with it and bring the right energies to it. And that was kind of what I did for Roscoe. Like Roscoe's kind of just like I get that energy. It's all business. This client is difficult and not one that I believe in. So this is all, and I don't physically. Excuse me. I don't physically want to be here. So it's very much try to brush this guy off and like, let's get through this gig so we can go somewhere that has food I might actually eat, sort of thing. And like, so it was really just kind of fun to just sort of like get to play and, have fun and be a jerk for a little while. It was very nice.
I also really wanted to write a character for you that was very, very different than Chris Miller. Because Chris Miller is like this, cinnamon bun, wholesome, sweet, lovely person, and Roscoe's just a dick. Like there's nothing nice, nothing.
He's kind of just a dick. Like he's a dick, and he's here about this gig, and he is like he's dealing with other clients. Like the entire time of that first scene, he's on his phone because he's got other clients to talk to that aren't this one.
Yeah.
Go do your gig. I'm here. Go do your gig. I got other stuff to worry about.
And you're so frustrated too because it's just like, God, this guy has nothing interesting about him.
I'm bored. You're boring. I know.
Executive whatever guy to come to a bar in the middle of nowhere and
Yeah. I mean, and that's actually Roscoe's character arc to some degree in the feature is just constantly being frustrated of this kid who just has nothing. What is he supposed to do? He's like, it's like My Fair Lady, but he's just failing every step of the way.
Poor Professor Higgins.
Oh, and Graham, what about you for Jared's backstory?
I don't know. I tend to not really write backstories when I'm acting. I guess a lot of times I'm kind of, I don't know. It's a lot. I guess a lot of times I'm thinking of I guess more reactions and timing. But I have seen Labrador Retrievers before, and I think that influenced me a lot. I tend to go back and forth between smoking weed every day and then just being sober. So, I had a lot of that to draw on for the character. Filming this got me sober for a few days then, so that was good. I guess like I wasn't that dissimilar from Jared in my life at the time. I mean, replace the gig economy with accounting, and we're pretty similar, I guess, in a lot of ways.
Sometimes you just cast a type.
Just cast a type.
I've seen a Labrador Retriever before.
I guess Graham was the JJ of this film, where I basically wrote this character about him. Although I do want to actually say that casting Jared was the hardest character to cast. I knew Michael, like I wrote Roscoe with Michael in mind. I wrote Seth and Maximilian in mind. I did not know Tiare when I wrote Mag. One of the most transcendent, auditions I've ever seen, in the fact that like I got like 5 or 6 auditions for Mag, and just none of them were right. None of them were really landing quite the way I wanted. And then I opened hers, and I have never seen a character that I have written be that obvious, and that alive immediately in an audition, the way that I saw with Tiare's Mag audition.
It just seems so honest.
Yeah.
And Mag's like the only really honest character.
Yeah.
I mean, Jared's honest, but
but yeah, I remember like that's one of the few times where I've seen an audition for a character and was basically like, I don't need to see anybody else. I was like that. I looked up Tiare and I tried to find like anything that I could find. There was like a monologue that she posted on YouTube, I think, or something to like that. Like I was trying to find any information on this woman I could, just to make sure, like, just to scope out like what type of person she is, like see if I can find like other tapes and stuff. And I really liked the monologue that I saw on YouTube, and I was like, okay, so she can do like serious stuff too. Cool. and yeah, and then I just like reached out, and she like immediately got back to me and was very friendly and very like professional in the communication. So I was like, cool. And then I was just like, I didn't need to be sold anymore. And then we met and we talked for like 3 hours in a Starbucks and hit it off immediately. So yeah, like I'm very, very fortunate to have encountered Tiare on Synths, and obviously carried her into Evolution as well. But yeah, so Jared was the hardest one to cast because that was a character whom I knew what I wanted to go with in the direction of, you know, that he's kind of this person being exploited by the gig economy. He's kind of like, I knew what he wanted to represent, but I didn't really know what kind of energy I wanted that character to bring to the trio. And because you're trying to cast this polyamorous trio and you're trying to get that chemistry right, and I was like, he's going to be the comic relief, but is it deadpan comic relief? Is it endearing comic relief? Is it sarcastic comic relief? Like, what is his energy?
Like, he really needed to be true neutral to balance out the group.
Right. And so I kind of knew that, like, Graham was, like, high on my list in terms of, like, his humor in what we're reading today would work for that character really well. But I did audition some other people, and it actually came down to, like, 2 or 3 guys who were, like, wildly different from one another in their delivery. And then it came down to like choosing, you know, the one that I thought would add the most like authenticity to the vibe that I was going for. And I'm really glad that we ended up with Graham, because I think it's just perfect. Like that just deadpan but cheerful but endearing naive delivery is wonderful.
I really wanted Graham to be in it, especially after like rewatching what we're reading today, because I think we had the submission about that time. But also this also kind of goes into casting isn't always on choices like that, because the fact that they could carpool was a big benefit.
Yeah,
so.
Because I knew at that point that Shannon was going to be the bartender. I think I already cast Shannon, or like knew that I was going to. And y'all both live in Atlanta, you're friends. And I was like, yeah. And Graham will do a great job, and Shannon will do a great job, and yeah, let's just work with them both. And I always do kind of like to, if I find people I like as people, try to incorporate them into my work in some way and work with them. And so that was a cool opportunity to do so, and I'm very happy with how it came out. I think that you all did a wonderful job.
Yeah, me and Shannon were both really thankful to be cast, because we were huge fans of Live Screen, and we were really excited. We were both filming our audition tapes in my studio apartment together, and just both kind of nervous and excited about the prospect. So
I remember your audition was really, really cute.
Thanks,
Yeah, it wasn't too far off from the performance. I don't think anybody's really was. Interestingly, Maximilian's audition, I thought at the time was like way over the top, and I was like, okay, he can bring the energy, we'll have to pull it back when we shoot it. If you actually watch Maximilian's audition compared to the film, it seems reserved. He went even harder in the actual film, but that's what it needed. And I actually do have some takes where he was a little bit more mellow, and it just doesn't work quite as well. And that's actually one of the reasons that I deleted the deleted scene, was because the energy's a little low and it's a little mellow compared to the rest of the film and the rest of his performance. So it just seemed a little strange, especially to open on that. And there were other technical issues in that deleted scene as well. But I think what I'm going to do is, even though the deleted scene was put on Patreon yesterday for patrons and isn't going to go on YouTube until Friday as its own thing, I think I'm going to screen it right now for our audience that's here, and also for our actors who have never seen it yet. So let's do that. I also have Michael's audition pulled up, which could be fun to watch.
Oh,
because it's so wonderful.
Something I have not seen since I
just singling you out also.
Okay. I guess we can just do, I'll just do that. Share. Minimize. Goodness. So much happening. Let's get rid of VLC. We don't need that anymore. Let's move OBS over here.
That's.
This isn't what I want at all.
You have to move the other one over here, don't you?
Yeah, I do need to move the other one over here. Hold on. Ah. All right. Let's
unminimize it.
Unminimize it. Yes. Technical difficulties. It's great. I actually have to. You know what I'll do is I will just change this to be the other one. That's way easier. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. There's everybody. Now, I can't see the chat anymore, but we'll just have to look at that later, I suppose. Okay. Computer audio. Cool. And this is cranked. I'll turn it down some. Hopefully everybody can hear okay.
Hey, I at least started a tab for the 3 of us.
What do you want?
I'll get a gin and tonic, whatever your cheapest IPA is, and Seth, what do you want?
You look like you would like a Brandy Alexander.
Okay, I guess I'll have that then.
Okay, you'll like whatever they give you. After my student loan interest, these drinks will be like $34 a piece.
Yikes. It's even more than the CS80.
That's the really expensive.
Yeah, the amazing Blade Runner set.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe next month for your birthday, I can buy you one of those.
No, Jared, it truly cost a fortune. No, I have a knockoff, but it's broken, so it doesn't really count.
Well, with my new gig, I'm gonna be making a lot more money and stuff. Today, actually, one lady tipped me $4. So that, plus my gig rate, that's like almost $7.
We are gonna be so rich. Our kids are gonna go to fucking Harvard.
What?
I'm kidding.
Kidding as in joking, or?
No! No. The 3 of us are plenty. You know what's up. OT3.
OT3.
And that dolly shot behind the bar that took so much effort. Thank you, Jonathan Straiton, our cinematographer. Yeah, so that was our deleted scene, if you remember filming that.
I completely forgot that there was the kidding joke.
Yeah, so credit to Graham for that. That was Graham's other contribution to, hold on, let me get this back here. Okay.
I forgot that was my contribution. Wow.
Yes, so there were two lines that you changed or that you suggested, and one of them was the ditch tweet, and the other one was kidding, and so I added both of them. Both of them were wonderful, and Ian says Seven Deadly Synths was released in August. Jared says Seth's birthday is next month, and Maximilian's birthday in September as well. I don't know what the star signs for our characters would be. I think Roscoe feels like a Leo. I think Mag feels a little bit like,
She feels
what's
like
the nurturing sign? What is the like level-headed, like always kind of knows what's up sign and like can see things clearly sign? I don't know.
Libra sometimes they're with the balance.
Libra, maybe Libra. I think Seth is absolutely a Pisces. I say that as a Pisces. And I don't know about Jared. I'd have to think about it.
Gemini.
Lone Lion asks, are Maximilian and Graham actually that tall? Because damn. Graham, how tall are you?
I'm 5'11". I must be wearing stilts or something. I feel like Maximilian's
He's 6
foot. I think the bar did have like a.
It had a ledge.
A foot.
Yeah, I'm sure he just got up on that.
Yeah, you're only an inch apart, but everybody's just like, Tiare's so tiny. It's just like had to hop up on the little ledge to get to the bar, which is really cute. But yeah, so that was our deleted scene, and I was really, like I said, I mean, I see why I wrote it in the script, but it kind of wasn't needed for the movie. That would have been another thing that I think would have been, like, it was all character work, and which will be great in the feature, but for the short, kind of unnecessary and kind of made the running time drag. So that's going to be stuff that's going to be more established in the feature. And as I've told them before on Q&As with Synths, it's definitely like a movie where this is not like, oh, we have a short film and then we make a sequel that's a feature the way that the Detroit movies were. This scene is part of the feature. This is like the first 10 minutes of the feature. It's the inciting incident of the whole film. So there's a little bit of runtime before they get to the bar with Mag and Jared and Seth, where you kind of like meet them before they go to EDM night. But for the most part, this whole sequence was within the first 20 minutes of the movie. And then you have like your opening credits, like heist sequence, like once he says, I'm going to steal that synthesizer. So that's kind of the plan. And then everything after that, we don't know. We haven't written it yet. We'll have to see how it goes.
It's very loosely like...
We kind of know thematically what we want to do with it, and we know character-wise kind of what we want to do with it, but yes, actual plot beats, I always struggle with Act 2. Like, I know what Act 3 is going to be, and I know what Act 1 is going to be. I don't know what happens in the middle of the movie.
I know what the stinger's going to be.
And I know what the after-credit sequence is going to be, but yeah, I always, every movie I ever write, I don't know what the fuck is going to happen in Act 2.
Yep, the after credit sequence is Roscoe assembling Nicolas Cage to steal back the Seven Deadly.
Nicolas Cage, Harrison Ford, and Danny Ocean.
Right, yeah. Yeah. I'm putting together a team.
Clooney.
Didn't call him Clooney. I called him Danny Ocean.
Danny Ocean, yeah. I'm putting together a team to steal back the synths.
That might be better than what we actually have planned. I'll have to think about that. It'll depend on if we get acquired by Disney, Fox, Warner at that point. I like Lone Lion's idea. The middle is just 30 minutes of sharks, or Austin the bartender putting whipped cream on a Brandy Alexander for 40 minutes.
40.
That was another sort of stupid joke, was even though Austin the bartender criticizes apps for and gig economy, they work at multiple bars throughout the movie.
Oh yeah, that was going to be the thing, is that every bar they go to in the movie, Austin is the bartender. Kind of like in The Proposal, where every place, every store they go to, Oscar from The Office runs it.
Like a stripper. And
right, yeah. Oh my gosh.
I like that. That's a really good joke.
But it would be a way to keep that character in the movie, that's for sure, and save on casting.
Pretty funny.
But I think that's all for today. We're out of questions, so thank you so much for joining us, everybody, both in the cast here and also in the chat. I want to say that in 2 weeks, we will be back again with another Seven Deadly Synths stream, this time the Seven Deadly Synths Google Translate Disaster stream. As always, with all of our scripts, we're going to be translating the script into like 5 different languages and then back into English, and then performing whatever comes out. And if you want to see the Detroit Evolution version of that, it's called Detroit Evute. It's on YouTube, and it is a laugh. It is a laugh. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the hell happens with all the puns that come out of the script.
Oh God.
I don't know what ASSHOLE is going to become. Who knows? You'll have to come back in 2 weeks for that. Next week, I will probably be doing another synth stream alone. It'll either be your music or my editing or maybe my VFX, something to that effect. It'll be a behind the scenes of synths kind of stream next week. And then 2 weeks, we'll be bringing the cast back for Google Translate. So, yes. Thank you all so much for joining us. Stay great, hydrate, have a happy time zone, and I will see you on Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern for Apu. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.